Is it possible that the masks you're wearing and the corona tester itself might pose a bigger threat than corona itself? Well, according to latest information, it looks like that's actually the case. Cause out of curiosity, people have put the fabric the masks are made of under the microscope. What they found is truly bizarre, a microorganism. Are we facing a new parasite? Or is the whole thing just a conspiracy theory? Let's start from the beginning. So as corona, the vaccine, and also masks are a big topic nowadays, people obviously put a lot of thought and maybe even research into this whole topic. Therefore, recently something has been discovered, now is getting more popular and more viral over the entire world. Not only a single but multiple cases. So what people have found is that if they put their mask under a microscope, they were able to distinguish microscopic black artifacts. And not only that, but the artifacts are moving independently. So we're not only talking about a thing, a subject, we're talking about something that is actually alive, that is moving, a worm-esque microorganism. And before I show further evidence, I want to show you this video that I found that shows off this phenomenon I'm talking about.
So, hier ist dieses Ding und wie ihr seht, es bewegt sich auch während ich rede. Ich hauche nicht. Hier ist die Maske und hier. Ich mache jetzt einfach la 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 la. Und ihr seht, es bewegt sich trotzdem.
Of course, as this went viral, a lot of conspiracy theory went viral along with it. People claim that these little worms or insects are synthetically created biomechanic creatures that the government is planting inside the masks so it would find their way inside the human's body and especially in their brain for the sake of getting more control over the crowds. Yet, even though there are parasites that are capable of controlling their host's mind, like for example the kamikaze horsehair worm, none of these known parasites are first of all able to control a human. Second of all, there is no evidence that this case is in any way comparable to the parasites we're talking about, and none of the so-called evidence is in any way grounded and can be debunked with a simple Google search. Therefore, this part is 100% only conspiracy theory. I see how people would come up with creating a conspiracy theory around this whole thing, cause getting actual microorganisms, parasites, or even microscopic mini robots, if you want to call them that sounds absolutely scary. Naturally, people are yet again freaking out. Don't get tested for corona, don't get the vaccine. You'll be contaminated with these microorganisms that will crawl into your brain. But guys, don't fall for the bullshit. It is all just conspiracy theory. There are other theories that by far are way more plausible than the idea of the government planting some microchip in us. A lot of people are in that case talking about Morgellons, or the Morgellons disease, which within itself is a very complicated and poorly understood topic, because Morgellons disease is very controversial, it is unexplained and informal. There is even a huge debate if the disease is existing or not. Therefore, a lot of doctors only recognize the condition as being delusional, often treated rather with cognitive behavior therapy, antidepressants, antipsychotic drugs, and so on, other than actual treatment. Because like stated, medics are clashing a lot about that. When conspiracy theory comes into the mix, it's absolute insanity and none of the evidence is making any sense whatsoever. Especially if you look up cases and studies on this topic on the internet, you find a lot of cases that are obviously not created by professionals. You find a lot of inconsistency. It almost seems like Morgellons aren't a specific disease with specific symptoms, and it seems like more often than not the symptoms are actually caused by other conditions, and very often doctors also talk about mental illness in that case. Therefore, the common attempt at treating Morgellons is rather with mental health care than actual medication. The problem is that for somebody who's actually in that mental state or that stress that he believes to have a disease to the point that they actually show symptoms, they most likely are either very traumatized or extremely brainwashed by conspiracy theory. A great example for that is the conspiracy with chemtrails. Chemtrail conspiracy theorists often bring up Morgellons as an example, like the government is poisoning the air and people believe that tiny little microorganisms are raining down, infesting their skin and crawling into their brain. So let me say this one more time, Morgellons are not an actual disease. It is not really caused by parasites living in your mask. Usually it's caused by stress or trauma. In the majority of cases only hypochondria mitochondriacs are affected. But for them, Morgellons are an absolute nightmare, because for them this whole thing feels very real, because they actually believe that some sorts of parasites live within them. False beliefs that the patient actually can feel worms crawling through their skin, crawling through their eyeballs, living in their ears. This might just be a delusional infestation, but my fucking god, does that sound terrifying. But you might think now, okay, I get it. Morgellons only really exist in the minds of people. What about the video with the worm crawling around? What is that in that case? So maybe in the end this is actually a government drone or something? Well, it appears like this actually is the best example for a actual living Morgellon. What? Let me explain. This whole paranoia of disease and viruses and parasites this pandemic has caused, the background of conspiracy theorists putting pressure on everybody, talking them into believing that bullshit with having absolutely no insight or explanation to what we actually look at. This is actually the best examples for Morgellons we can find, because what we're looking at is nothing more than just a hairline of fabric, just a tiny piece of string that is probably in everybody's mask. It might just appear different from the remaining fabric for sorry, bit of corona there. It might just appear different from the rest of the fabric for varying reasons, maybe the thickness, maybe poor production quality, who knows. And this is also the reason why it's moving. We didn't have any additional information on what is going on. As we were talking about microscopic levels, they might just get moved by wind. Just a little breath is enough to move it around. With the high contrast to the background, of course it looks like it's moving. Also, a common practice when you're working with microscope is to add a drop of water. It might also cause movement if the thread is soaking itself full of water. And also, you always have to consider that this might as well be fake, especially since the majority of these videos have originated on Facebook, and you know how goddamn bad Facebook is when it comes to conspiracy theory. There is no other platform with this much false information like Facebook. You will find those microorganisms, as they have been titled, everywhere on every piece of fabric in your household even. If you have a microscope, just go ahead and take a Q-tip or something and put it under the microscope. In the majority of cases, you will find those so-called worms living inside your Q-tip, your towel and whatnot. But actual scientists have proven that this is not an animal, not a virus or parasite and whatnot, because they're actually able to zoom in much further than your Facebook mom with their microscope bought off Amazon. Yes, the scientists have labeled that as just being fiber. Of course, the conspiracy theorists are not giving up, trying to prove anyway that these are actual animals. No, I know you will try, but you can't fight things scientists have confirmed. These parasites are not real. There's a multitude of explanations to why these things are moving under microscopes. Wind, water, maybe even a electrostatic field. I mean, this is not even groundbreaking science. A bit of kindergarten experience and common sense and your entire theory is debunked. So they are not moving because they, I don't know, have their own brain to move themselves, or because they have been programmed by the government to move by themselves. It's just environmental influence. This is where I see the huge problem with this entire topic. Usually I wouldn't even bother with stupid conspiracy theories. I mean, you can believe whatever the hell you want, be it conspiracy, religion, or even Santa Claus, it's your business. These conspiracy theorists and Facebook groups actively try to convince everybody. Don't get the vaccine, don't wear masks, don't even do the corona tests. Because man, these Q-tips they are putting in your mouth to test you, they are basically contaminated with this new super parasite corona 2.0. And that is absolute insanity. It is dangerous. Not only for the individual person, for the entire goddamn society, for the entire goddamn planet, for every human being. What I mean to say is, don't listen to idiots, guys. Don't believe in conspiracy theory. Stop being afraid. Do your responsible thing. Wear your mask and get tested. And also, while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. The scientists have also confirmed that every loyal subscriber of the channel gets a big titty waifu. If you want to check out more content, click on the link you have on screen. Thank you for watching.